Keep all your game, highs and lows, highs and lows. It's all the same, highs and lows, highs and lows. Keep all your game, highs and lows, highs and lows. It's all the same, highs and lows, highs and lows.
Welcome, all you wonderful ladies, to the Finnish residence here in Lusaka on this beautiful, beautiful sunny day. I'm really grateful to have all of you here. You are all very busy business women, and you've taken the time to be here with us. It's a very important week for Finland. Throughout this week, we've been celebrating the independence of Finland. We started on Monday, which is the actual Independence Day of Finland, the 6th of December. We have now been independent for 104 years. We've had some interviews with Spring TV and have done this whole week in cooperation with Spring TV as well as Peaberry Coffee Roasters, and actually used their cafe as a sort of pop-up studio, which was a wonderful experience. This discussion and breakfast get-together is the highlight of our week, and I really wanted to round up this important week with a discussion where we would be able to focus on women and business. Exceptional women, as I said, discussing business in exceptional times. And I think we really have the perfect crowd here for that. I am so happy to have all of you around this table and very, very humbled. We are going to have a discussion facilitated by Jovela, who has been with us throughout this week, and he will be putting the questions under this umbrella theme of ours, which is women and business. And I'm sure I know all of you have so much to say. I hope we have a really great discussion, and I hope that despite the cameras around, that we could just talk informally, have a free-flowing, nice, relaxing discussion, and, throw out their new visions, because if anybody is going to throw out visions, it's going to be you. I'm not going to be talking so much after this, because obviously I'm not a business woman, so I'm going to listen and learn, and I'm so happy to have all of you here. Thank you so much for coming, and I think I will hand it over to Jovela now.
All right, thank you, Ambassador, for that. Very lovely welcome, and I think we'll quickly get into the discussion. So I have 5 talking points, very general, but as she said, it's an informal discussion, so not too serious. I mean, the discussion is serious, but let's enjoy the discussion, and then would like to hear from each one of you on the various talking points that we have in front of us. So as I ask and the mic goes round, you can introduce yourself and then quickly answer. I know we are short of time, so we're trying to cover everything within the shortest possible time. So I might ask you to hurry it up for the mic to move to the next person. So just so that everybody has that thought process going, we have the following talking points: general business environment that we are in right now, expectations from the new Dawn government, the second talking point, also expectations from financiers and other stakeholders, impact of COVID. We can't run away from the fact that COVID is here. The last one is possible innovations and opportunities available out there, seeing that we're crossing into the new year. And of course, the last one is concluding remarks. So I'll start with you, Nambula. What has been for WIAC? What is the business environment? How has it been for you guys in 2021?
Right, thank you so much, Yowela. And thank you obviously to the ambassador. Happy Finnish Week. It's good to see so many familiar faces on the table. So I'm Nambula Kachumi. I'm the executive director at the Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center. So 6 years ago, we opened our doors to support female entrepreneurship in Zambia through an incubation center, which also acts as a platform, a virtual and physical platform to offer various resources to women, including training, supporting network building, and basically exposing them to opportunities to grow their markets and grow their businesses. I think the last 6 years has been amazing. First of all, looking at the opportunities that lie and how rapidly female entrepreneurship has grown in Zambia. I think it's very exciting to see women really come on and take up their space in terms of taking advantage of the market, but also using their skills and their networks to leverage opportunities that are out there. And being an enterprise support organization, I think it's been interesting to see how the different journeys of women entrepreneurs, some of the challenges that they face as they start and grow their businesses. Our major focus area is to support gender barriers to entrepreneurship, gender equality rather. And there are so many things that come, with supporting women, to build their businesses because of the many challenges that underlie. When you look at the current opportunities in the market, the general business operating environment, I think we have seen a lot of dynamics in the past few years, economic dynamics, political, social, and the cultural context within which women have to operate in terms of their businesses. And so generally we are looking at a situation where the last 2 years obviously has been very challenging for everybody. And we have been challenged as WIAC to think through how we can better expand our reach and improve how we deliver and support women more, especially addressing some of the challenges like encouraging female participation and enabling them to really see where their opportunities are. And it has been an extremely challenging period for us as well. The demand is high, but we've also seen a lot of opportunities. And so we are looking at the next few years being very critical in terms of thinking around inclusive ways of bettering the environment for women to participate more equally. And considering the current challenges, we've seen the resilience that women have also shown in this very difficult time. So we're happy to have seen how women have taken advantage of the current operating environment. We're also happy to continue supporting and addressing some of the critical areas that remain very relevant in terms of addressing gender barriers in entrepreneurship. We're also looking forward to seeing things get better, in terms of the economic environment and how, certain challenges that have been very, very daunting, especially for women entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, like access to finance, seeing how that will roll out. But I think what has been key is to see, how different entities from the private sector have come on board to collaborate and see how we could specifically tackle those issues that remain very big challenges in supporting the growth of female entrepreneurship. When you look at the current Global Entrepreneurship Index, Zambia ranks 106 out of 137 countries. But when you look at participation into higher value chains, higher industries, women's participation remains very high, and access to finance remains a very big challenge still. So we are looking at how we can enable, or rather make that scenario better. Currently, there's potential of about $168 billion or $1 million rather, in terms of the women's market in the financial sector, but we're seeing very low uptake.
My name is Monica Musonda. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Java Foods. We are a food processing business, well known for easy instant noodles, super cereal, and now seasoning and curry powders. So really thank you for having me and for allowing me to share my views. I've been in business now for the past almost 10 years. I started off, as many of you know, I was a lawyer and decided to do the crazy thing and become an entrepreneur without having without having a lot of background, and in a sector which is perhaps not as open for women entrepreneurs. In fact, there are very few women who are running businesses at scale in manufacturing or food processing, and it's still very much the same today. I think when you talk about the general business environment, definitely we're seeing a lot more openness. When I started the business, I think some of my greatest issues were around information, understanding where I could go to get a particular license, or if I knew I needed help on a particular issue. It was really difficult to ask, and not everyone had the answers. I think a lot has changed. A lot of positive energy has been put in by both government as well as CSOs to actually aggregate information for entrepreneurs now. So that has definitely very much helped. And it helps us think better about business if we have the information. If we have the data, for instance, that we know how big the market is, how many people live in Lusaka, how many shoppers go to ShopRite, can you get a particular material in Zambia? I mean, 10 years ago it was a little bit more difficult. Now I think things definitely much better. I think another thing about the general business environment is that we did see a lot more access to financing, in sense of different types of financing. It's not all about bank financing. There were grants, etc., which unfortunately dried up because of COVID. But I think what was positive about it was that there was a focus on key sectors in Zambia, and I think it's something we need to take very positive, that there are sectors which we are seeing will grow. And I think that was, very, very, you almost wanted to be in the agriculture value chain, because a lot of focus was on supporting farmers, creating value chains, which means there's something there, right? There's a lot in digital now. So there's been a lot of positive support around really encouraging the growth of businesses in certain sectors. So that's really positive. The one which is not so positive, if I'm allowed to say, is this over-regulation or multiple regulation. At any one time, we're in the food sector, I have every week regulators coming to regulate the same thing. And if you ask, so what are you looking at? Because last week someone was here asking the same questions, you're not even allowed to ask the question, right? And also the cost of it. So we really would love to see a much more streamlined regulatory framework for sectors. So we know there's either a one-stop, we know this is the regulator for environment, this is the regulator for sanitation or anything else, but it's clear and everybody knows who regulates what and who should be allowed where and when, etc. I mean, we're very open and we understand the need for regulation, but let's be clear who does what. So, and also the cost. So, I mean, I think I'm now what they call a growth business, but for many smaller businesses, particularly run by women, the cost of actually compliance is really expensive. If you had to get all the licenses, particularly for us in the food sector, they are a lot. And they cost a lot. I mean, they are important. Please do not misunderstand. But we want to get them, but it surely shouldn't cost you between $30,000 to $50,000, 50,000 kwacha per annum. You remember, you're a small business, and that 50,000 kwacha could really help you with product, with innovation, with salaries, etc. So I think what we would have loved to see is government also, particularly through COVID, after rethinking some of the costing around some of the licensing frameworks and the compliance issues, or giving us some breathing room to allow us to then scale up in order to pay for some of that. So I think that's also what we've seen, which continues to be an issue, which we would love to have be addressed, I think. Generally also we are seeing a bit of strain from our consumers, and please excuse me because I'm speaking from the sector that I know. And this is just an economic environment that we've seen deteriorate over the past few years. We are optimistic, however. I think we are already seeing a sense of optimism in the country that things will be different. It doesn't happen overnight, but I can tell you if there was a silver lining in COVID was that we looked internally. And it helps us local producers because now I have my market actually is looking at my products. So it means now that there is an opportunity that only us as Zambians are going to lose it if we don't take it up. So I think for me, those are my general points about the environment.
I'm Anne Louise from Yanza Amansa Agrigrain. Yanza Amansa is an agro-processing company. We deal in cassava, millet meal, rice, beans that we supply to the major supermarkets. So basically, when I started into Yanza Amansa, I'm the managing director. We had an environment where most of the supermarkets you'd actually find products which were mainly imported. Most of the organic stuff were not found in there. So we come to a time where we had to push in to get our products into those stores. We had to work on our packaging. Is it visible? Is it saying what it is that is actually packaged in those packets? So we did manage to penetrate into the major supermarkets. And these are spread countrywide. So now we had to look at the logistics. How do I get my products countrywide? So then we engage a transporter, and there's an additional cost there. How do I get to that store? How do I make sure my products are well displayed? So I had to engage some merchandisers to say, make sure my products are displayed, make orders when you run out. So we're actually like in an environment where we are growing. And then how do I get my products from my farmers, mainly who are women and the youth, countrywide in the rural areas? So we had to grow a part where we needed to trust those people, that they're going to send us the products and the good quality. Now we had to use logistics to say, can they put these things on trucks and we'll get them in Lusaka? And that worked very well, especially during COVID, because now we needed to work smarter. Because we needed the products and we needed them in the shops and we needed them on time. Having a banking background, mainly managing teams, that came in easily for me to manage those teams, to manage the customers, to manage the shops countrywide, and to make sure that the product is on time, and to also account for every product that's there. Like I'd always say, how many sales have we done today? Because we have a target to actually meet at the end of it. And then we also looked at the innovation to say, oh, these imported items, is there something that we can do? I'll give an example of the salt shaker. A salt shaker was mainly dominated by one particular company. We said, oh, we actually have a manufacturing company here who can actually manufacture a bottle for us. And we started that, and we have it in the supermarkets. So again, you can always look out and see what's there, what can we achieve, and try and strive through.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Grace, the general business environment, your honey tastes really, really nice. Yeah.
Thank you so much. My name's Honorable Grace Njapawe Frati. I have so many hats, but I'll just mention the particular subject that we have on the table. From 2019, my background is I'm a transporter. But when COVID came in, I said, I think I have to change. And I looked at Northwestern Province, where we have a lot of honey, and our forest is thick there, as you are aware. And we have very good rain patterns. Northwestern, we have rains twice in a year. So I said myself, why should I not go into something that will generate finances or help me to sustain myself and other people? So we went into honey, and it was really, really difficult. You know, you have to know who is harvesting the honey. You need to know where the best honey is, because honey it has also 2 seasons. So I said, what should I do here? Then I went back when I was young. I saw my father doing the same thing. Then I said, okay, so the honey, the dark honey, it has these properties. Then the light honey, which is called salad honey, it has also other properties. It paints the forest. So I said, okay, let me do something. Then we started. We prepared about 100 beehives in northwestern province, Mwinlunga in particular, and we started harvesting some honey. But now, how would I do the packaging? Or first of all, how would I bring the honey to Lusaka? So we used to use buses. You know, we have the 20 liters containers, we put them in the bus. But I thought also this is a health risk because you wouldn't know who opened the bucket. So what we did was we had to buy a small truck, a 5-ton truck for ourselves. So we started bringing the honey to Lusaka. Now, that is in cob form. It's not processed. So now, where would I take my honey to be processed? So I started looking around. Fortunately enough, I have a friend from Italy, Jonas and Catherine. I think some of you know Catherine. She's based in Mwinlung at my uncle's palace buying honey. Where can I process this honey? Then she said, okay, there is an organization which processes the honey. Where? In Kabwe. So we took our first buckets, about 30 buckets, and they processed the honey. Now, where would I sell my honey? No, you have to get some certifications. You have to get, it has to be approved. So I went to Zabs. First of all, I spoke to Honorable Yaluma. Honorable Yaluma, I have honey. I have seen a Chinese in China selling Zambian honey. Why can't I do it myself? He said, okay, Honorable Njapao, let's do it. I said, thank you so much. I took, after doing the processing, I said, now I don't have ZAB's certificate. What should I do? He said, no, I'm a Minister of Commerce. We'll give you a paper. Can you carry some bottles to China? I took 200 bottles. I'm telling you, within 1 hour, all the bottles went. I said, oh, so there is a market here. Now I came back home. Zabs, please, I need a certification because I cannot export honey anywhere without a certification. Ask me why. 6 months battling to get a certificate from Zabs. I think those who are in processing, they know what I'm talking about. Going to Monica's point,
yes, overregulation.
It is really, really, really hard to get a certification from ZABS. Then I said, okay, I'm a politician, partly I'm a politician. I'll use my political, I said, influence. I said, Honorable Yaloma, you told me I have to do these things. Now look at your people, they are delaying. He just called them, please, can you assist? It took another 2 months. But fortunately, this year, ZABS approved our products. The honey, if you see the other bottle, there is even, from ZABS. And also made some, I have come with samples also there. Then moringa says, because I wanted women to start growing moringa, because moringa, it is a food supplement. What you can get in a banana, you can get it in moringa. It has about 300 properties. You don't need to buy carrots and other things. So I said, okay, I'll go into that. What should I do now next? They have already approved, and we need to start moving. Now the production. How would I do the production when they're asking me to bring about 1,000 bottles? So there is a lady on this table who introduced me somewhere. Don't laugh. So there, fortunately enough, I was given a grant for all the machines to extraction of honey, packaging of honey, cleaning of honey, all the machines. They also supplied us packaging and sealing machines for cereals. I said, thank God. Now we are just waiting for those machines to arrive by, I think, February. Then we go in a full throttle. But besides that, we are not just sitting. We have our customers, these corner shops. We really have our customers. And we have our own chigayo at home. We have our own maize sheller to do the samp at home. So now people, they have known where to buy their samp for their breakfast. We do also cassava meal. We are also milling. That's why I'm telling this one, said, watch out. Because so those are some of the things that we are doing. I think what I would like to see the government doing for us is to facilitate for the SMEs, the entrepreneurs, because women are the vulnerable group. Even to access loans, they have to look at your face. Are you a woman or are you a man? But where is it written that it's only men who can get loans? They ask you for collateral which you cannot have because our culture doesn't allow women to, have properties. It is now where women can have properties. Where would you get the title deed to take to the bank? Okay, it is me here in town. What of the woman in the village? How would we help them? For them also to be where we are. Because it has to be a chain. Tomorrow, all of us will not be there. Who will be there to, take up the challenge? So these are some of the things that I feel the government has to come in to help especially the women and the youth, and also the bank. I'm glad Muzinga, she's here. She has to hear this, and she has to have a deliberate policy in their banks to help the women, because I'm telling you, we are going far if we are helped. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Madam Grace Njapao, for that lovely story, very encouraging. So we'll pass it on to Teya, who is running a business, as a Finn, running a business in Zambia. So she'll tell us what her experience has been quite briefly.
Thank you. I'm Teya Lublinkov. I'm from Beeberry Coffee Roasters, and I also chair the Zambian Coffee Growers Association. So I'm quite involved with the agricultural side with the coffee. And I think I need to go back like 17 years when I think about Zambian business environment, because when I started roasting first in Zambia, there was 2 coffee shops in Lusaka, and there was basically most of the products in coffee were imported products. And I'm sure you all remember these times, And even though I'm from Finland, I think I've been working here 20 years. I've been living here 22 years. I feel like I know this environment better than I know the Finnish one, actually, sometimes. But there was 2 coffee shops, and there was hotels, and that was pretty much what we had when it came to coffee. And when I started roasting, everybody was like, Zambian coffee, you want to sell us Zambian coffee, but we like the Italian one, Italy doesn't even grow coffee, but there's that. But initial push to get some people to appreciate local produce and figure out packaging and everything so that you can make a high quality product and push it in the market here, it took quite a lot of work to get it recognized to start with. And I think it's the same thing with any of these products which people are producing, these beautiful ladies are producing in Zambia. We all have had that fight to get our products out there and get them respected. And now when I look back, it took years to kind of get over that, but now in the last kind of 5 to 10 years, I think there's been much more support for the local produce and having like a high quality product and not having that expectation that the imported product must be better. Because I think that's what we have been fighting against, making sure that people appreciate that we can have high quality product packed in the high quality packaging material locally. And I think we are getting there, and there's definitely more respect to our products now than there used to be. And I think there's more support from the local companies as well, like a tourism industry, which I supply a lot. They are definitely wanting to have a local product available, and they are kind of proud to present it to their clients as well. And obviously there's been COVID crisis, but I think we must also look at the positives and look at the fact that it's great to have a Zambian produce. It's great to be a manufacturer in Zambia in the agribusiness, and there is some good stuff going on as well.
Okay, so Justina, you can go ahead, tell us from your perspective, the general business environment. Tell us also where you're coming from.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, and thank you again to the ambassador for having me here. My name is Justina. I'm the founder and the managing director for Omega Foods. Usually I tell my story about Omega Foods, because whenever I talk about it, I cannot stop talking about my son, who is the reason why Omega Foods was founded. I was looking for nutrition for my son, and out of that today, I realized that I'm not the only mother who is looking for nutrition. And out of me looking for nutrition, I ended up having Omega Foods in the market. So we've been in the business, this is our 5th year, and I've come to realize that it's not only children who need nutrition. Actually, most people that we are servicing today are adults who are saying we want something alternative to Millie Meal. We've eaten Millie Meal for long, and what are we getting? There are so many people with lifestyle diseases. If you look at yourself today, you are maybe paying for someone some hospital bills, to manage their diabetes or a lot of lifestyle diseases. So we can actually curb all these things by using nutrition, and that is the reason why Omega Foods was founded. Currently, we are doing millet meal, cassava meal, and sorghum. I was just actually telling somebody on the table this earlier that sorghum is actually more healthier. And going forward in 2022, we are looking in ways of bringing on board more innovative products. Just me bringing you another meal like Millie Meal, you're eating shima, sorghum shima or millet shima every day. It's not innovative. And let me say that our vision is to inspire people to eating healthy. And we cannot inspire you by just giving you millet and sorghum meal. So we are looking for investors, for example, who can come on board and help us to do innovative products. Can we bring up sorghum flakes other than cornflakes? We can actually do sorghum pasta. So you can have different products from sorghum. It has been done in India. There are so many products of sorghum and millet. And I would want to see Omega Foods, for example, in the next 5 years being an innovation hub. About 10% of our children in Zambia are born underweight. Why? Because our mothers do not have that nutrition they need. Yet Zambia is very rich in these resources. So I would want Omega Foods in the next 5 years to be a hub for the Southern African region, to come up with various innovative products that our mothers can have them when they are pregnant and when they are breastfeeding. Innovative products that we can give our children when we are weaning them from breastfeeding. And I believe Zambia can be that supply of those, of all these products. We're looking for ways of working with the smallholder farmers to being able also to feeding these products to their families, not just supplying us to supply the markets, but how can we work with the smallholder farmers to be able to make these products at their level and supply them to the markets down there. So those are some of the things we're looking at. And in the next 5 years with the new government, we are excited, especially because of the Ministry of SMEs. For me, I am excited because this shows me that the government knows the impact SMEs can do in Zambia and in the region. And because of that, I'm open and I'm looking forward, especially in 2022, to what the government has to offer. And somebody talked about financing and women, and that has been one of the challenges that I hope the government can be able to address. It has been such a difficult thing for the last 5 years for us to just get financing. And if it were not for companies, organizations like WEAC that come up to support us, to push us, to kind of give financiers some guarantee, kind of a guarantee with the, and confidence in us, I think it would have been very difficult for Omega Foods to be where we are today, and I'm very grateful for such organizations. But I think the government has a lot to believe in women. I usually hear men who default, but a woman is more trustworthy because they're looking at tomorrow. What is tomorrow going to be for me? How are my children going to be tomorrow? So they are very, very careful to default in whatever you give them. And for that and the history that we have had as women, I want to see a government that can believe in us, because I believe we can bring the change that Zambia and the region wants. So I'm very excited.
I was interviewing, maybe ladies, you need to know that I was interviewing Ms. Ngwenya early this week. She's one of the SMEs that went to DRC and sealed a deal worth $6 million while there. Similar story to Madam Grace, where products get into the market and they are sold out upon arrival. But she should tell us her story. But quickly, Ms. Ngwenya, just tell us how you see the business environment in Zambia right now.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. Yeah, and I'd want to start from WIAC because you have to know where we came from, how the $6 million came to play. Yeah, so we had an advert on the radio station that they want women to come at some convention center, and we were in Mumbai at the time. So we went there without an idea, but we were farmers. And there were so many women, and there were so many mentors. And so from the 350 women, we came out top 26 because those mentors were able to literally give us a business. We went, because we were farmers and we were doing a lot of soybeans, legume seeds. And so from that meeting, we were able to be top 26 and top 27. And when you look at all the top 7 rather, they are all serious entrepreneurs. We have Lupia doing a lot of things in the financial sector, and I'm one of them, and the other 5 ladies doing very well. Yeah. So from there, we developed a product called Supremo. Instant porridge is called Instant Porridge. These are all Supreme products, including soya chunk. And also because we were running away from the cost of buying seed, we became a seed company. And at that time, we were already working with women. There were about 500, but now, direct supporting 3,000 women. We are actually partners. We have given them 900 shares in our company because we have to share the dividends at the end of the year. And when we talk about the business environment in this country, well, it doesn't really favor a woman, but there are a lot of opportunities because the women are smarter in the way they do their things. They are consistent, and then they are always wanting to learn new ways of doing things. And so when it comes to certification, for us, we didn't really, because we knew that the product we were producing was a high-tech product. We didn't have our own machines. We were outsourcing. We outsourced to these big companies called Seba Foods. Eventually, Seba took us out after some time, but we also were doing it with essential commodities because these guys have high-tech equipment. Then we bought our own. But you see, I don't like our own processing plant because it's really made out of, the steel. This steel, which is not, it's not very good to humans. So we were looking for stainless steel because I think most of the people use very bad steel in this country. They buy from Camco or these, coming from India. But when we were exposed to the American market, we went there with the American embassy in the commercial department. Then we were surprised to find that all the equipment that they are using to produce whatever food, be it a sweet, be it a cake, it's all stainless steel. And if you look at most of the Zambian companies, they don't have. I admire Java. One time I sneaked into her production company and I found it was all stainless steel. I said, this woman, she's hard. Yeah. Yeah, so you can imagine how we are exposing our own citizens as manufacturers. And I have spoken this before, and I can say it here. With the authorities, we were at some ZDA meeting where I actually was bringing it out to government to say it is very wrong for them to allow China bring in quasi, it's not even a steel, it's a semi-steel, it's very wrong, for government to allow that because that thing as it processes, it wears out. And you can imagine where is that wearing out going to? It's going in the food that the people are eating. So you see, we have a lot of work to do as a Zambian government to ensure that most of these companies, they have stainless steel. Because if you are going to produce, let's say Omega, she's doing a very good job in a production of these indigenous foods. But if she's not going to use stainless steel, it defeats the whole purpose of the product that she's doing. So a lot of work has to be made by government to ensure that the equipment that is coming into this country is stainless steel. There's no regulator in that. It's a free market. Everyone is dropping everything in this country. So at the present moment, we got a funding from the World Bank, and when they gave us the equipment, I refused. I said I want stainless steel. Then they say, okay, if you want stainless steel, then find the matching money to pay. I said, well, I'm not going to find the matching money to pay because you are the one who enrolled me onto this program. Other people have gotten their equipment, but for me, I have refused to get anything that is not stainless steel, and I'm still waiting. But fortunately enough, Musika came in and they gave me a very nice stainless steel, but it is in line with porridges. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of work that government must do in terms of equipment that comes in this country. It's not good equipment and we don't want it. We want something that is international ISO certified.
And it's really great to hear. And if you need someone to co-pack under your brand, we'll be happy to as Java, particularly on the cereals side.
Okay, so it's now Mzinga Melu's time, and I think all you ladies will agree with me if we change, because of time, we change the format. I'd like Mzinga to address even anticipated issues because she's experienced. She definitely knows what people will be crying for from a bank like hers. And I'll strike off expectations from government, or maybe I'll speak for them. I'm looking for a job from government, but I think, but
or maybe.
No, but what I'll do because of time, I think we can all agree that the current government, formulation of Ministry of SMEs, the president has been saying he's a chief marketing officer, he's carried a team to DRC, and I think all his trips around, he is pushing the agenda of the private sector where all of you belong. So I think the government is on the right track. Let's just give them time, and if you can allow me, we'll strike off expectations from government. I know Honorable Njapao wants to say something from a political side, but I think because of time, we'll allow Mzinga to tell us what she can offer as a bank. You can also address the impact. I mean, you're a bank and it's a business. So COVID has also impacted the bank. So maybe we can actually go to the next one. So what can you offer these ladies and their businesses? And then also, what has COVID done or negatively to the bank? And perhaps maybe I can even go into possible innovations and opportunities.
Well, thank you so much. And my name is Mzinga Melu. I'm the CEO and Managing Director of ABSA Bank. I also run a foundation called When Females Lead, which is a charity that we work with vulnerable children. But I'm also an author of Braving the Odds. And I must say I'm really, really impressed with the quality of women that we have around this table. And there's no reason why as Zambia we should struggle when we have so much knowledge and expertise, around the table. First, let me just start by quickly the business environment. The business environment, it almost like we switched on a tap after August the 12th. It became totally positive. I think before that we kept wondering, when is the market going to open? But immediately it opened. And a few things were constraining the market before August the 12th. I think from a credit point of view, as banks, even as ABSA, we were constrained, because our shareholders were saying, where is this country going? That was a big struggle that was impacting the businesses. So even when you say, are we going to support the SME? Our concern was, would they even pay back? I think a few things have to happen, and we're seeing them happen. I think the first one that we're really worried about was, are we going to sign the IMF program? That has been a big one. I think the second one was, we are in default. Are we going to manage to pay back? The Eurobond we haven't paid back. Are we going to manage to pay back? And the third was, are we going to restructure our debt? So let me just talk about them briefly, because it really sums up the business environment that we're operating in. I think the government signing the staff level agreement with the IMF is a huge positive. We feel extremely positive as a business environment because suddenly we're saying it's not about the money, it's not about the 1.4 billion, it's about the confidence. We're saying if the IMF can believe in Zambia, then it means we can now do business. So I think the government coming in the first few months and signing the environment, that is now opening up credit beyond. We are having, our shareholders, our credit officers saying, when are we going to upgrade the credit rating, of the company? Because now it's positive. I think the second thing is that we are still worried about is we would like us to get to a point where we are honoring our debt. As a country, we haven't got to that stage yet. We are not honoring our debt yet. We are still in default stage. So we are excited about us getting to that stage. I think the third thing which the president has been talking about himself is we want to get to a stage where we are restructuring our debt. So when you sum up the business environment, just ticking the first box has really left us very, very positive. And bringing it to the concerns that the ladies have been raising, when you look at the entrepreneurs, and I've spent a lot of time with the Minister of SME, I've spent a lot of time with the Minister of Commerce and Trade, and some of the issues that the ladies are raising, they have raised them themselves. When I was speaking to the Minister of Commerce, he says, look, I want to get to a point where we only have one license. Because when you look at the challenges that we have now, you need about 25 licenses for you to start a business. You know, he was saying when you enter an office, you need 25. You just see all of them, 25 licenses. And it speaks to the concerns the ladies are talking about, which is the cost of doing business, because every license costs money. Every license costs time. So our expectations of the government is let's get to that one single license. I think that is really going to help. I think the next point that they've spoken about is the access to finance, which is really where we come in, and the issue of collateral, which is a big concern. And they've also spoken about the market. So when you look at what we need to do to support the ladies, now that we have an enabled environment, the European government has created an environment where we are free to do business. We don't have to worry, and we understand the expectations. So there's a lot of positivity, So what the big issues is firstly the access to market. For us in banking, markets matter. What you are going to do with your product matters. And believe me, ladies, that's the crack of, are we going to give you money or not? It's just where you're going to sell your product. If you have your product and you've got a market, like the Honorable saying here that you can go to China and she can sell all her honey within an hour, then we can do business. Because if you don't have the market, where do we even start? So that value chain matters. The value chain of, yes, you are producing, and this is what you're going to do with your produce, and you're going to get the market, then it's easy for us to support you and structure. So the ambassador here will attest that in the last 1 month, we have taken SMEs to the Congo. And the president has been talking about the Congo to say, look, there is a market. Look at the Congo. Why is the Congo important? It's important because then it provides a market. Because when you have a market, you've got business ideas. We don't have to go there. You know what you're doing. But when you have a market, we bring it together and say, we can deal with the access to finance. Granted, there are issues of collateral. So what we have seen in the last 2 months is, and I'll pick one because, they've allowed us to talk about that, USAID. So USAID has brought in $20 million, guarantee. And this is meant for SMEs and businesses and entrepreneurs like the lady sitting around the table. And what they've said to ABSA is, let's go into an agreement between USAID and ourselves where if we find a good business propositions, there are a few things we're going to waiver. Number one is going to be the collateral. We won't have to talk about collateral because we understand your business. Number two, the money is going to be cheaper. And number three, it's going to be long term. So we are able to support you. We can support you as ABSA, but we can support you better with the risk mitigants like the likes of the USAID has brought in. So that's what the new government has brought in. It's brought in the positivity where USAID, and we're speaking to the president last week, and they were saying, we are keen, we want you to close about 5 of these deals before the end of the year. And in short, they're saying, where are the ladies? We want to give them the money. So show us, so a few things. Show us the market, show us the business propositions, show us that what you're doing is working, and it is. Then we're able to scale up. Their model is scale up.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got the business, but how do we help you scale up? And of course, there are other companies like CDC or EIB who will go into startups as well. So just to sum it up, the market is positive. The signing of the IMF staff level agreement is great. There's still a lot of work to do to deal with the fact that we're still in default and we still have to restructure our debt. But as we are going there, ladies, the market is open for you. You know, we are here now to support you. We are looking for you to actually say, let's now talk about it. Because if we can't do it in our own right, we will bring the likes of USAID, who've said we've got $20 million, and the program is called EDGE. You can Google it.
Yeah.
You know, it's called EDGE, you know, USAID EDGE, and we can sit down and talk about it. But I'm only talking about USAID because we've got permission to talk about them publicly. But there are many others. So in short, we are going places as Zambia. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited.
Yeah.
And maybe my final words is, to everybody out there, do something. Don't just do nothing. It doesn't matter whether you are selling a cereal or whether you are growing cassava. Whatever you're doing, do something. In this environment, the government will not bring in free money. No. I think the days of CEC are gone, right? Here they'll give you an enabling environment, but you do something to meet us halfway where, you know, Minister of Commerce says one license, cost of business doing goes down, USAID comes in with a guarantee. We are on to big things. Right. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Nga. And then I know as a business, you still get some negative shocks when you talk about COVID. Staff, even just the general business environment for a bank. Tell us how COVID, now that we're in the fourth wave, how COVID has impacted the bank, but also moving forward, what innovations do you have as a bank to still be able to attend to your customers?
Okay, thank you so much. Great question. And COVID has impacted us, as APSA and even the banking sector, probably in twofold. Number one, the colleagues, and number two, the staff. Number one, the colleagues, and number two, the customers. Maybe let me start with the customers. With the customers, we've seen such a negative impact with COVID, and it's been sector-led. There's been some big losers, and there's been some big winners. So if you look at, let me start with the winners. If you look at the telcos have come up really as winners during this time because people are working from home. People don't want to touch money. Now it's interesting. Even if you're driving somewhere and you want to buy a cob of maize, you can pay using your mobile app. So what we have seen is that there have been some winners very, very positively in here. And we've also seen some diversification. There's some businesses, like the Honorable saying, I was doing something else, but I realized I can actually do honey because of COVID. So again, there have been a lot of people who've thought outside the box and decided to still succeed amidst that. But we've seen clients who no fault of their own who have struggled, like the airlines, like the SME, like a lot of businesses who, even the banks would say, we are not sure how you're going to pay us back if we gave you money. So we have to also be honest that they have struggled, not because they don't know what they're doing, but the customers were just not there. Hospitality is one of them, but let me just stick to the airlines because those were the publicly affected companies. So a number of airlines really, really struggled. Our own airlines here in Zambia, they struggled to the point where, because the planes were down, there's nothing, they were almost at a point of closing. But a number of them, again, they were still winners. We saw them diversifying, like Ethiopian Airways. It was really good that they moved from passenger to cargo. But if you really look at the common man, we saw COVID impacted a lot of people. It didn't help Zambia that the economic environment struggled at the time. I think the two was just a bad recipe. Now that the market has opened up, what we are seeing with our customers then is, number one, they are now asking for credit holidays. They were asking for them that now, and even now they are asking for credit holidays. So what we have done as APSA is that we're giving credit holidays like for 3 months. So we are saying to our clients, if you can prove that you've been impacted by COVID, will give you a holiday for 3 months, meaning you don't have to pay your interest repayments for 3 months. And that has helped. We've also taken full advantage of the central bank medium-term refinancing facility because the money is long-term and it's also cheaper. So I think that's how COVID has impacted the customers in summary. But for our colleagues, we have, I've said I'm trusting more now. I trust my colleagues more because if they say I'm working from home, I trust you. You're working from home. Whereas before COVID, it was a problem. Why aren't you in the office? I want to see your car in the car park. But now things have changed. People are able to work from home, and I think we are seeing a lot more productivity. In fact, the issue we have under COVID as ABSA is people are working long hours, because you just feel, I'm not going to knock off. Your boss can call you anytime and you should be working. Whereas before they would say, okay, you've knocked off, now you can go home. So that's the dynamic that we are seeing. As ABSA, we are 54% vaccinated. And our aim is to get to the 70%. I know we are saying, should we pay people to be vaccinated? I don't subscribe to that. I think you should just believe that it's the right thing because it's beyond the company, right? It's about you and your family. If you and your family believe it's the right thing to do, you must do it. But if you believe it's not, we can only convince you to do it, but you're also entitled to your rights. Yeah, so as long as the government hasn't made it law, we cannot make it compulsory. So that's really where we are, and we believe that when we get to the 70%, we would never really get to everybody coming to the office. I think we like the idea of working from home, actually it's not from working from home, working from wherever you are, as long as you can dial in. The meetings start on time, they are punctual, the debate is more robust, and you meet once in a while, and we believe that's the future. Thank you very much.
Innovations, you've heard from Mzinga. I think even I'm excited based on what she said with regards to what the bank can do to SMEs and especially women in business. But maybe just to conclude, getting from takeaways from what Mzinga said, tell us in 2 minutes, Ms. Ngwenya. I'll give everybody 2 minutes. So that we'll end with you, Ambassador, so that you close the discussion. So in 2 minutes, what's the way forward for KGML?
Okay, great. So I'm happy that she's here, the money woman. Yeah. So when we were in Congo, because I was fully sponsored by the Finnish embassy. Yeah, so and that's where I clicked that $6 million. I met her team. I think she's aware that she sent 3 guys there, and they were very helpful to me. They actually calling me to go to their offices, but I just have this phobia of commercial banks. I'm good to deal with these smaller banks. Yeah, but I think I'll visit them because she has said about the age money that is there. Yeah, and she has even made it clear to me. So I think I'll visit them because we do need finance. Like I've told you, we want to have very good equipment because we're actually at scale. Our business is scaling, so we can't afford to have, shabby manufacturing, equipment. Yeah, yes, and Congo is waiting. They have already deposited the 2.7 million in our account. Because they were saying, why are you not bringing? So I said some money, and then they put up that money. But it's money that I can't use. You know what I mean? It's specific for something else. And these guys are already coming in tomorrow. They want to help me package because their orders are ripe in Congo. So, I need support, so we'll visit ABSA and see how best we can and other banks.
Okay, great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, so in 2 minutes, looking forward and also based on what Mzinga has brought to the table.
Yes, looking forward, I think what she has said has given me a lot of confidence. As I said, we are trying to inspire people to eating healthy. And I've been asking myself, how do I do this? How do I get cheaper financing? Because as I said earlier, I'm not going to inspire you by giving you millet and sorghum. I need to give you real product that you can use. And looking back to COVID, I remember when COVID came in 2019, we were preparing our place in Chongwe. We had given ourselves up to 2022 June to shift. But then it comes and our place was very small in Kalundu and we had actually to shift. So we had to close our business for 4 months. Now we start 2019 July we reopened, and we had used all our money to finishing up our plant into a habitable place. But I think that was a very good decision, because it is opening our mind to the innovations that we want to make. So I'm excited with ABSA coming on board, and Edge. I have done a bit of technical support with Edge USAID. They have given us about 2 interns to support us in the marketing, and some coming up with SOPs in our business. So I'm excited to what they're bringing on table for SMEs, and there is hope for women entrepreneurs in Zambia.
Yeah, obviously I work with the hospitality industry, and that's been heavily affected. But what is nice to see is that when something like this hits us, people reshift the focus, and there's companies, there's lodges who have gone like, okay, all our customers cancelled, all of them. What do we do now? Let's focus on Zambian clientele. And they have made it work. They've like made specials. There's been like amazing places to visit in Zambia, because there's been amazing specials and things going on. And I think that happens to all of us. We all have to kind of reshift the focus and think what we can do. So what we did, for example, we revamped our packaging, because we thought, okay, now we got time in our hands. And then we also did like a lot of training and focused on the training and making sure our clients, baristas were trained and retrained and all of that. It's a matter of finding a way forward in that situation and finding something that you can do, whether it's your personally studying, doing something to improve your skills, or with the business, and how you can reshift things. And meanwhile, you just tighten your purse and don't spend, I think.
All right, Nambula, so concluding remarks, we've heard from Mizinga. I think it's a very wonderful position that the bank has put itself in terms of what they can offer SMEs, and especially women in business. But as you conclude, your takeaways from this discussion.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I think one thing that is clear is that women really have the potential to contribute significantly to economic growth. And hearing the stories around the table, I think all women entrepreneurs have one goal. They want to create impact. They also want to contribute to supporting, to lifting families and communities. But I think what will be very relevant also is serious recognition of market builders and ecosystem enablers. I think there's need for more investment in terms of widening platforms that support capacity building for women-owned businesses. And also providing an opportunity to have access to information. I think there's a lot of talk around opportunities available in finance, in raising capital, but I think there's a very huge gap when it comes to linking women or leading women to where these opportunities are. And as our interest also is to see standards in terms of what sort of packages are offered to women. How can we move from thinking very small to really striking deals that work for women to support their business growth and for them to become more sustainable. We don't want women to be looked at as, being part of programs that are nice to do, but I think we need real investment. And also, in order to reduce the risk or the perceptions around supporting women-owned businesses, we need to provide an environment and a platform that enables them, first of all, to understand their markets, to make the right decisions around industries that they want to venture in. And that can only happen, by integrating innovative solutions and also leveraging, good infrastructure, technology, especially in the advent of COVID. I think we see more need for women-owned businesses to become more visible, especially if they have to take advantage of international markets and regional opportunities. So I'm very happy and excited and looking forward to see how that turns out.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Monica, your concluding remarks. I think we've heard it all, and what would you say your takeaways would be?
Yeah, so I think it's been a really interesting discussion, but definitely what COVID has taught us at Java is that necessity is the necessity is the mother of all invention. Basically, it means that, we had put all our effort into our business and we got hit with something we didn't know about, or we didn't understand it fully, but we needed to carry on.
Right.
And I think for us, it taught us that whatever happened, we had to figure it out, right? And in the time when it was really difficult for the business, when we had a lot of our customers unable to pay or were at home in the early days, we just pivoted the business. We found whatever we could sell, we sold it. Whatever services we could provide, we provided it, right? And we are still of that. You see, anything which adds to your revenue, do it.
Yeah.
Even if as long as it doesn't take away from your core, your bread and butter, that's what I learned. So I was able to then move ahead. And we really, really got people to understand us. Well, also, I have to really thank Zambians, actually, because the reality is that people then, we really looked at Zambian products differently because they're the ones that were on the shelf, because there weren't actually a lot of imported products coming in. So in a way, a silver lining to a really bad problem actually helped us. And actually, that's why I have to say this now that Zambians are comfortable and actually support Zambian brands much more, we have to continue to give them more.
Yeah.
And now what I ask is that we now much more open towards innovation around not just packaging, but how we support our customers. How do we get it to our customers cheaply, quicker, in the manner they want, in the size that they want, and how they can afford it. Yeah. And also, what other products can we give? Particularly for those who supply much more urban customers, as we know, who prefer to shop for convenience, maybe later hours with, things like that. So we have to really understand the market more. And I would really love to see and this is someone who's thinking about a business, more data around the business, around the business environment. How many people are shopping here? What are people shopping? So it helps us make business decisions going forward. I think that would be great if someone was able to just do a business around data collection, right? Yeah. Right. Easier in other environments, not so easy here. Yeah. But I mean, I think we look forward. I can say that. Very happy to hear about financing opportunities. Because even myself, still borrowing at 23%, despite Bank of Zambia. So I would really like to see how I can reduce my expenses. Yeah. But thank you for having me.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah. And Louise, your takeaways from this discussion?
Okay. For me, in terms of innovation, I think the aspect of transportation, how I get my products moving around, that has worked very well for me. And I think if you look at the market now, you have the bikers who are able to deliver at the doorstep. And then during the COVID time, I took time to also study and learn how to put up proposals by understanding my environment and what I want from the markets. So I was able to work with Prospero, I was able to work with Hivos, and where they even give you a holiday for 5 months before you can start paying. So my takeaway, and I'm happy, Mzinga talked about APSA. I was actually in one of the meetings with AGE. So I know a lot of great things are coming in because AGE has really, really wants us to grow, especially where the impact should be in the small households who are the women and the youth. How can we grow and impact on those people? Once we make those people grow and they're able to sell their products, then we're impacting on a bigger, large scale. And if we can do that, then we'll have a better Zambia.
Thank you very much. Honorable Grace, I know you have a lot to say, but
no.
But
it will be only 2 minutes.
2 minutes, please. Your takeaways from this discussion.
Yes, Your Excellency. I just want to say something. If I won't mention, then I'll be failing as Kakanga Foods. First of all, Your Excellency, thank you so much for inviting Kakanga to be at your residence and meeting these wonderful ladies. Thank you so much. We need more support from your office, Your Excellency. Secondly, I want to thank WIAC, because WIAC has taken us through to where we are today. We are even on this table discussing business. Thank you so much, Nambula. Thank you. Mine is just to say thank you very much, Mzinga. I'm trying to propose if we can have a consortium as women so that we bring our heads together and make one thing that the APSA can support us. Because by doing that, then we'll break the yoke. And secondly, I just want to mention that the government, the New Dawn government, is the government of the people. And His Excellency, the President, Hakainde Hichilema, he's a businessman, he's an economist, and he understands the situation. He has been in opposition for 23 years, and he really knows the do's and don'ts of this country, especially women and youth. So we as business women, we need also to support the government of the day with its policies. And by doing that, we are helping I always emphasize the woman in Shangombo, the woman in Chavuma, the woman in Kaputa, the woman in far areas. We need also to sensitize and educate them. Let them be like us. We should not be selfish as women in town, but let's look in rural areas as well, where youth and the woman are, because it's where the potential is. Our potential here is limited, but in rural areas, the potential is very, very cardinal and it's big. So I'm ending by saying, Muzinga, you are in trouble. She's in trouble. And please, when we just open your door and look at these faces, but I emphasize, let's help us how we can, form a consortium. By doing that, they can give us money which we can use for our businesses. Yes, we can get as individuals, but I think if we came together, definitely the NAPSA is going to give us big money, which will help APSA, which will help our businesses. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much. May God bless us all.
All right, so I think, ladies, even I'm excited. Whatever consortium you form, I'll be part of it. As a side, someone just observing everything from the side. But before we give back the floor to the ambassador to close, I'd like to say thank you so much for those that have joined us in this discussion. I think there'll be more of these discussions coming up. It's always, as a man, as a son, it's always lovely to hear women speak, and I agree with all the women. Women are trustworthy. I think women carry us, even as men. So I've actually, it's been a privilege for me to host these lovely women in this discussion.
Thank you. It certainly has been a privilege for me, a real privilege to host this discussion, and I have to say, wow. And I have to say, you rarely hear about somebody being in trouble and that sounding such a positive thing. I think that was something really important. I think we've had an amazing, visionary and free-flowing discussion from the macroeconomic aspects through to business environment, to individual, company and personal experiences, and the whole, all those different layers of business and the things that you do. We've discussed COVID, also the positive aspects. I also recently spoke to a company who had actually found some amazing new markets because another market of theirs basically shut down for a little while. So, sometimes, when one door closes, another one opens, and it's a question of you just have to persist. It's the attitude, and if you're determined, you're just gonna make it, whatever. I think it has been wonderful networking. This table is like an ecosystem or a puzzle where there are like different pieces of the same puzzle that fit together. Where there's access to finance or WEAC supporting women entrepreneurs and companies between themselves already coming together and saying, hey, we can do such and such thing together. This is it. And also all those, the cooperating partners were mentioned many times. And there are many different cooperating partners who do things, and this I noticed, for instance, in agriculture. But a lot of it, I think, is in agriculture and trying to find access to markets and so forth. But there are many cooperating partners, sort of trying to do the same thing, and all those players, including ourselves, Finland, we also have to come together as pieces of that puzzle, if we really want to, if we really, I mean, you're definitely getting, ahead a lot, but if we really, really want to get there, then we all have to come together. And Finland is very much focusing on the private sector in Zambia, and we have in fact worked with many of you. With you, of course, with APSA, we worked in the context of that trade promotion visit and mission of Zambian companies to DRC, which you so kindly mentioned, and we were very happy to finance that. And I was saying earlier here to somebody that it just might have been so far the most exciting, initiative where Finland has been involved during the 3 years that I have been here. It is there's something really big going on there. And for instance, what your business is now experiencing is whether all the achievements and then also all those challenges. It's very, it's fascinating also to hear about those challenges. And this, I really see this Zambia DRC trade as something, because it's such a massive potential market and already is an important market, something where the discussion really has to continue. And indeed, this week we have discussed it, and we've had earlier in the week interviews of companies, including yourself, who were part of that mission that was actually supported through the AGS program. I'm always talking about AGS program, but accelerated growth for SMEs in Zambia that Finland is funding now over 4 years. So that was a very, very special one. Maybe I still have to mention also the SICE program, Southern Africa Innovation Support Program, because I know that some of you have been involved. And through SICE and AGS, actually we had, as it happens, just in the last couple of weeks, some companies and some people around this table visiting Finland and also attending this Slush become something big. For the last couple of years they had to do it virtually, but now they did it again in a physical format. So we work a lot, and for several years already have worked a lot in the private sector in Zambia, and that is clearly our focus, our most central focus. But there is a lot to do, I think, still in all these pieces of the puzzle coming together. And whether it's, banks, different kinds of business support organizations, cooperating partners, all the things that the government is doing. And like you said, the government is doing a lot of good things now and really focusing on private sector and SMEs. So let's make those pieces come together and amazing things can happen. And my final point, really, of course, I knew it already before this discussion, but especially after this discussion, one can only conclude that women are the mainstream. You are the mainstream of Zambian economy. It's not like it's, entrepreneurs and business people, and then it's women entrepreneurs and women business people. No, women are the core and the mainstream of Zambian economy. However, we still need to put at this stage special focus. We need to network among each other and discuss specifically women entrepreneurs, because there are specific issues, and this networking aspect is so important. But I am really grateful to have had all of you here. You said, Jovela, there will be more discussions, and I certainly hope I will be able to have many more discussions like this here, and I certainly expect to continue interacting with all of you amazing women and entrepreneurs in the future too. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for joining us. That was now me hosting these lovely ladies for Spring TV's Money Watch.
It's all the same, highs and lows, highs and lows. Keep all your game, highs and lows, highs and lows.